welcome to week 2 of health communication. And so today is Memorial Day, and I realized that the video I was going to post, which was a year old, was insufficient. There have been new studies on health communication, and I wanted to bring them in just a little bit, but I'm going to try to go really quickly, although there's a lot of material to cover this week. So this week, we're looking at both the history of health communication and interpersonal health communication. So the history of health communication coincides to some extent with the history of health sciences. And we'll go through that. And then interpersonal health communication talks about how healthcare providers and patients communicate. And so communication, we will get to, the PowerPoint does get to this slide eventually, but let me talk a little bit about communication. Oh, of course, everything is backwards in the, but so communication, say between a healthcare provider, which would be right here, and a patient here occurs by, a message. Say in health communication, the message is, this is what would work best for your health. This is what the evidence shows is going to really matter in making you healthier. And so then the patient isn't just influenced by their individual genetics and their individual personalities. They're also very influenced by such as the community, their behaviors that are acceptable or not, their families, and then the greater environment and the world. For example, what if there's a war going on where that person is? Well, that's a huge influence on how they perceive this health information. So all these factors factor in to how the person understands their health. And that's about the socio-ecologic model of health, which was in the first PowerPoint. And so, all these things are places where health communication can matter, and all of those factors need to be considered in a health communication message. So then, based on all these things, a person may say, this message doesn't matter to me, or it does matter to me, So how those factors influence whether or not a person thinks that the health message the healthcare provider is telling them matters, that's what we're looking at. And so then the patient gives some kind of communication back to the healthcare provider. And so communication is very much about, I realize the words are backwards, but it's about the sender and the encoder of the information, and then the decoder and recipient of the information, and importantly for you guys creating your projects, about the channel of communication. And it's very much a two-way process. So that's one aspect. So then, a little bit about what the PowerPoint does go through these ideas about biopower and how the whole notion of the relationship between people's health and the state changed. It changed in about the 1600s. And it used to be that the state had absolute power over people's bodies. And so laws were enforced through such as torture or actually physically enforcing the laws. And then that changed because states realized that part of their power was the health of populations. So keeping a population healthy meant that there was greater productivity for the state. And so they the power, this idea of biopower started is that the state keeps people healthy as a way to have power. And so some states will keep a certain population healthy, but not another population. So this is something you can look into more by reading Foucault. He wrote such as The History of Sexuality and on the archaeology of knowledge. So I'd recommend, if you're interested, that you look into some of those issues. And so, I encourage you to look through the PowerPoint, and please let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, it's a very interesting topic this week. So, and I may post another video a little bit later about some more for this week, but this I look forward to talking with you soon.